Charlotte Dawson is fighting back against online bullies by publicly exposing them as Twitter trolls. After being driven to a suicide attempt by online tormentors, she's now campaigning to shame the trolls and support other victims who suffer abuse from people they've never met.
Nice to meet you.
Charlotte Dawson meets one of the trolls who sent her abusive messages on Twitter while she recovered from a suicide attempt.
I suppose the first thing I want to say is, because I'm face to face with you now. If I turned around and said, "F you," how do you feel?
20-year-old Jordan Maguire sends messages like that to people he doesn't know on Twitter from behind the safety of his keyboard. He mainly targets celebrities like Guy Sebastian.
You
And Jack Vidgen, who won Australia's Got Talent.
ugly-ass albino Ellen DeGeneres impersonator.
They're just things that I say. They're things that I say on Twitter, and Twitter isn't real life.
But for the trolls' targets, it's very real and almost caused Charlotte to end her life.
After being pushed to the brink by vicious online bullying.
Caspian Shields is another troll who's laid into Charlotte and others online.
I stand by the fact that, I do say a lot of things that aren't very nice.
Where does that come from?
It doesn't come from anywhere in particular. It just comes.
Do you think that people like Charlotte should have to just cop whatever you put out there?
I think that, being in the public eye, you are going to get abused.
Sydney truck driver Ian Cameron isn't a serial troll, but he has sent tweets like this, calling Charlotte a as she recovered.
There's real life you and internet you. I think I gain a little bit more confidence on the internet. It's fair game. If they put themselves out in the media, I think they should be prepared to cop some slack.
Charlotte's response has been to expose the trolls by forwarding their abuse to her tens of thousands of followers.
We posted where I worked to 22,000 people to see all over Twitter.
It's just exposing the nasty. It's not bullying you, it's exposing you for what you are. That's what I do. I expose people like you.
And I don't necessarily mean what I tweet half the time. What my Twitter is basically just a bit of fun.
Most reasonable people find them highly, highly offensive, and they can't understand the mindset behind them or the logic behind them.
Okay.
How do you feel about that?
Well, again, that's their interpretation. I can understand why some people would think that was disrespectful. However, I have a very, very dulled sense of what is disrespectful and what isn't, because I'm just desensitized to it, and that's what the majority of Gen Y is.
A generation with the ability to scream whatever they want to the world with complete anonymity and often no repercussions.
The thing that I got out of visiting these people and them agreeing to talk to us is the fact that their online bravado is completely polar opposite to what they are.
Look, I think after all this, I will definitely reconsider certain things that I say to people.
I apologise to anyone who's taken offence to my tweets. However, that's not my interpretation.
Jodie Spears.
Leslie Jones fought back against harassment on Twitter and won. The SNL cast member found herself on the receiving end of a barrage of hateful and often racist messages on the social media service after the release of her new film, Ghostbusters. Instead of blocking the users, she retweeted them. Then she temporarily quit Twitter. The move caused the company to look into the matter and actually ban some of the offenders. She later said, quote, "The insults didn't hurt me. Unfortunately, I'm used to the insults. What scared me was the injustice of a gang of people jumping against you for such a sick cause."
Twitter continues to have issues dealing with harassers on its networking site, so they are now going to resort to other options in order to police some of the more offensive, abusive tweets on Twitter. So according to reports, the company just launched the Twitter Trust and Safety Council, a group made up of 40 organizations that will supposedly help Twitter develop better policies and tools for addressing abuse. Included among the advocacy groups and researchers is Feminist Frequency, one of the most high-profile targets of threats and harassment on the platform. I know a little about her. I know that a lot of people hate her. And I don't know if it's for good reason or not good reason. She was part of the whole Gamergate thing. I know that she's very critical of sexism within the gaming industry. I'm not familiar with the gaming industry. I'm not familiar with her criticisms. But nonetheless, I know that she is definitely a target on Twitter.
Yeah. Look, guys, it's okay to disagree with people without threatening to
Murder
assault them, murder them, rape them, come to their house, and do things to their family members. So bring it down. So, I don't know. Safety council, is it going to work? Maybe. The internet is so wild and crazy. I don't know if anything works, right? And I don't want to limit speech. On the other hand, things where you threaten violence are illegal. I don't know if you know that it doesn't magically become legal when you do it on the internet.
Right.
Right? It's like, oh, I see how you threatened to kill that guy. On the other hand, it was on the internet, so it doesn't count.
Yes.
There's no rule like that, right? So, and you don't get to be a monster just because we can't see you. I know that you feel empowered to do that, and maybe you get off on that, right? But, okay, I understand. Okay, well, then you're on that side. You're the dick, right? Yeah. And so you think you're being cool or whatever. No, you're being a child and perhaps dangerous, much worse. So, and we don't know which one, because the guy who's an idiot, you know, in his, for lack of a better thing, in his basement, whatever, right? And who doesn't mean anything by it, but is like, oh, yeah, I hate feminists, and then he goes and beats off or whatever he does, right? Okay, you're harmless, and go ahead. But we can't tell the difference between that and the guy who's sharpening his knives as he says he's going to kill and rape you.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
You can't, look, when you're inciting violence online, first of all, you're right, Cenk. There's a huge possibility that if people find you and they determine who you are, you could face prosecution for that. Inciting violence is against the law. But more importantly, I feel like there seems to be like a pass on the internet when it comes to any and all speech, right? So I want to protect speech, but you can't create a situation where people are literally fearing for their lives because you happen to disagree with them on any given topic.
Look, there's a limit on every one of our rights, including gun rights. Okay. And including the right to your First Amendment freedom of speech. No one cares about freedom of speech more than we do. That's part and parcel of our job. We absolutely positively need it. But you still can't go into a crowded theater, to use the trite example, and yell fire, because it endangers other people. So you also can't threaten to harm other people. That's assault. The battery is when you actually do it, right? So threatening to harm someone is assault. It's against the law. And it doesn't matter if you say it, if you're next to the person, or if you're not at all next to the person and you write it on a computer. It's still assault.
Absolutely. We'll see if this works with Twitter. It seems like they're constantly trying to roll out new strategies to combat harassment on their site, but it's almost impossible to catch every single one. And the onus is on Twitter users to report tweets that they feel incite violence or go against the law or go against Twitter's policy, because they do have a policy banning that type of treatment. But I don't know. I mean, my experience with Twitter in terms of like going after harassers has been a mixed bag. So sometimes they're good. Sometimes they'll identify a tweet that does incite violence and they should go after that person. Sometimes no, not so much. They just ignore it.
Well, look, I don't know. I always am biased in favor of, because I run the Young Turks. If you run Twitter, I know you got to put some people on it, but it's a hell of a thing to chase down.
I know.
There are a gazillion tweets every single day.
Now, we mentioned this at the top of the show, and anybody who follows Katie on social media will have noticed that basically you started naming and shaming the trolls that have been posting some absolutely horrendous things online about Harvey. We just need to warn you that we're going to show you some of the horrible pictures that people have been posting making fun of Harvey, and we have to warn you that they're quite shocking. Tell us why you've decided to tackle these people head on.
But at the end of the day, he's my son, and I've got 5 children, and they always seem to pick on Harvey. I mean, on this show, I know you'll probably show pictures and I'll read out some of the stuff, but that is so tame compared to things that I'd love to show you. They're racist. They mock the fact he's got disabilities. And not just for me, for everyone else. You know, trolls are evils. You know, some people would... there's a woman in Australia who committed suicide because she couldn't bear the abuse. Yeah. But I'm on here today to talk about Harvey. These trolls, it's just absolutely disgusting what they do for him, and I have to protect him.
Because this has been going on for years, hasn't it? I mean, you've decided to speak out now, and I mean, we obviously chat before we go on the show, and you've told us some of the things as the weeks have gone by.
But basically, last week, I woke up and I thought, OK, I'll look at my Instagram. And there was one message, and I can't say the actual word, but it said, oh, just to let you know that Harvey, up the, like... And I'm like, why would you even write that?
Boy,
13. And from that, I thought, do you know what? I've had enough of this. So I was on one, and yeah, I've named and shamed them. Some have apologised. And what else I hate is I've got some other of their family members threatening me, saying, if you don't take it down, I'm going to the police and stuff. And I'm like, well, why
they're going to take you to the police even though their friend
is because I've shown some of them up, and they're like, take it down because you're affecting him. I've got all your people now on their case. It's like, but that's what you're doing to me.
Don't do it in the first place.
And it's my son, and my son can't defend himself. If I said to Harvey, that people are saying horrible things about you, he'd probably go, oh, Happy New Year. You know, because he wouldn't understand. And it's like, I have to protect him, because who else is going to protect him?
Does it... Yeah, that's a you know, you've been in this business a really long time, and you're a tough lady. But does it get to you? Because this isn't just tormenting Katie Price, who we've all seen in the papers over the years. This is Katie the mum. It must devastate you.
It does. No, it really, really does. And that's why I want to do something about it.
You obviously know the names of some of the people who've been doing that. Have you gone to the police at all?
What's happened is so many people have given me their mobile numbers, addresses, but obviously I'm not going to go to their houses and that. But some of them have apologised, and if any of them are watching or their friends or anything, what I would love them to do, because I know they've obviously been getting stick, is to come on the show on Wednesday, and like next week, and be a man, come on this show and say why you was trolling, why would you do that about my son? And, like, stick up. I mean, not stick up for yourself, but, like...
Explain it in some way.
Why you would do it, you know?
The harassment of women on social media platforms is a commonplace affair. There are millions of trolls worldwide resorting to spewing abuse across social media platforms while hiding behind their online identities. The Union Minister for Women and Child Development, Maneka Gandhi, has decided to implement a crackdown on online harassment and trolling that women are subject to on a daily basis. She took to Twitter and appealed to women who face online harassment to write directly to her and inform her of the instances of abuse, following which requisite action can be taken.
Women have been complaining to us that they are being stalked, harassed, abused, threatened with rape, with death on the social media. If it is reported to us that there is something which has made a woman feel scared, feel harassed, feel abused, then it will come to my ministry, we will examine it, and then we will involve the social media involved and the police.
Think you can hurl abuse anonymously online from behind the shield of your computer screen? Well, given the stories of these 10 internet trolls and their ultimate comeuppance, you may want to think again. The biggest internet trolls who got caught. Michael Brutch, aka Violent Acres. Ever see something nasty online that really got you worked up? Chances are Michael Brutch has posted something equally bad, along with plenty of other vitriol far worse as well. Known online as Violent Acres, Brutch's specialty was disseminating images of scantily clad underage girls. But his web footprint has also included dabbling in racist, pornographic, misogynistic, and incestuous content. That was all before the programmer at a Texas financial services company was exposed by Gawker.com as Violent Acres, the self-described creepy uncle of Reddit in 2012. As a result of his uncovered online self, he was later fired from his real job. Joshua Ryan Goldberg, aka Australia Witness. Cyberbullying based on someone's appearance or personal characteristics is an obscene and disgusting act, but it doesn't often leave the victim concerned for their livelihood. Posing as an IS supporter while calling for attacks on Australia and the United States is even worse, and it is sure to attract the attention of federal authorities. Joshua Ryan Goldberg, a 20-year-old Jewish man from Florida, found that out the hard way when the FBI and Australian federal police connected him to the handle Australia Witness, which spoke of an alleged partnership with other jihadists and even posted pictures of homemade bombs. The feds weren't laughing, and Goldberg was arrested at his home in September of this year. Darren Burton, aka Nimrod Severn. There's a special place in hell for people like Darren Burton. Through his online alias of Nimrod Severn, Burton became a regular and highly unwelcome fixture on Facebook memorial pages, posting heinous comments like rotten piss, alongside heartfelt emotional tributes by grieving friends and family members of those whose passing was being honored through the popular social site. When a BBC reporter caught up with the Cardiff, Wales native in 2012, he was unapologetic, unremorseful, and basically as likable as his online persona would indicate. Sean Duffy. Another internet troll that harassed his victims beyond the grave was Britain's Sean Duffy, demonstrating a presence for targeting teens who had died under tragic circumstances. When 15-year-old Natasha McBride threw herself under a train near her Gloucester home, Duffy created his own Facebook tribute page titled Tasha the Tank Engine that included a video with the deceased girl's face superimposed on the fictional children's character Thomas the Tank Engine. Though initially jailed for 18 weeks for his online harassment of McBride, he continues to be investigated for his role in leaving vile comments on countless other pages. Sarah, aka @QueenDemetriax_. Contrary to most of these trolls who demonstrated a consistent ongoing pattern of deliberate mean-spirited abuse, 14-year-old Sarah was apparently just bored and dim-witted when she took to Twitter to levy terror threats at American Airlines account. From her @QueenDemetriax handle in 2014, she identified herself as Al-Qaeda member Ibrahim and tweeted at American Airlines that she was going to do something really big on June 1st. When the airline responded that her IP address and details were being sent to the FBI, Sarah went into immediate teen panic mode, appealing to the company that she was just an innocent girl who had made a bad joke. She was later brought before a court hearing, where she was unfortunately released. Pa West Dunzo, a prominent writer known to tackle controversial issues, Lindy West is all too familiar with negative tweets and comments section littered with vitriol by trolls. Despite her thick skin, even West was taken aback when someone used her dead father's name and photograph, contacted her on Twitter as a way of upping their trolling game. The Dunzo at the end of the handle represented a morbid taunt to acknowledge his lost battle with prostate cancer 18 months earlier. Even more remarkable was the taunt at how quickly the troll changed their tune after West went public with the abuse, contacting the writer to personally apologize and even apparently making a charitable donation in her dad's name. Travis. Comedian Chris Gethard thrives on the awkward, eagerly embracing uncomfortable situations in his comedy. So it was right in his wheelhouse when, after some catfish-style sleuthing, he tracked down a spammer named Travis who had agreed to chat face-to-face on camera. The result was a cringe-inducing exchange in which Travis took ownership of hate-fueled comments that included telling Gethard's agent to kill himself, but refused to show any remorse or apologize. He did say that he never intended to hurt anyone's feelings, a sentiment that seems directly at odds with the vicious nature of his comments. Brenda Leyland, aka @Sweepyface. The mystery of Madeleine McCann's disappearance in 2007 drew international headlines and inspired some conspiracy theorists to believe that her parents had faked the kidnapping and hid her body. Between November 2013 and November 2014, England native Brenda Leyland posted over 2,200 tweets through her @Sweepyface handle, most of which involved trying to shame McCann's parents into admitting a cover-up. Leyland was later tracked down for an ambush interview by Sky News. Despite appearing composed and steadfast in the interview, she took her own life days later by overdosing on helium. Unnamed 17-year-old. For Guardian columnist Leo Trainor, the face of internet trolling wasn't quite the one he expected. He and his wife had been bombarded by anti-Semitic abuse and even received a box of ashes at his home with the attached note saying, "Say hello to your relatives from Auschwitz," before ultimately taking action. It was only after having an IT-savvy friend track the IP addresses of the trolls that he learned of one attacker who was a son of a friend. After arranging a meeting with his friend and son, Trainor revealed that he knew the 17-year-old's online behavior, getting him to agree to counseling in exchange for not going to the police. Charlie Zelenoff. Few internet trolls have received their comeuppance in as absolute and satisfying of a way as Charlie Zelenoff, who foolishly targeted boxer Deontay Wilder with racial slurs online and even more foolishly confronted the current WBC World Heavyweight Champion in the ring. After months of abuse that also targeted Wilder's daughter who suffers from spinal bifida, Zelenoff challenged Wilder to a fight in the Hollywood boxing gym, and the boxer happily agreed. After an attempted sucker punch by Zelenoff, Wilder responded with a vicious hook that sent the troll running. The one-sided fight resumed on the gym floor, ending after Zelenoff stayed on the floor. Despite the sound beating, Zelenov has continued the abuse and still hasn't learned his lesson.